No, we all know Dove's a vampire. He's gonna live forever.
That's
Right. If you can just live long enough, it's gonna be really fucked up for the one person who like dies like the day before the technology comes. Like, here, this will fix you for another 1,000 years, and like,
right.
just died the day before. Damn.
I would be so relieved.
Hey everybody, it's Dove. Welcome to episode 11 of DKE Toys TV with our guest host Janky and Scott Cherry, aka Barbarian Rage, and our special guest host this week is John Black, aka Barely Human. How's it going, dude? Welcome to DKE Toys TV.
Thanks for having me, guys. It's amazing. Things are going good.
Is it all that you hoped it would be?
It is. It is. Yeah. I mean, what happened to your shelves, though?
They're new.
Oh, new. Okay.
They're
maybe you were robbed or something.
Yeah, you're not the first one to say that.
Every week he puts something up on the shelves, and then by the end, after the first year, we're gonna have.
Nice.
It's gonna take longer than a year.
Well, Ian and I installed the lights on one side, we installed the lights on the other side, but I had to have my handyman come and drill, like, because you have to choose which side you want the cord to come down, and then you have to drill.
I see you got that big mad ball.
I did.
That's awesome.
Oh, I guess you haven't watched the previous episodes of DK Toys TV.
See, now
I
the part
have,
of
but
the
not
show
the
where we
last
guilt
one.
trip.
Boom! No, I'm just messing with you. But then we had to drill holes on the side so that we could get we just need the lighting, and it's just there's another step I have to do before I start putting stuff in it, or else I'm gonna have to take everything out again so it's gonna be fine.
It's coming.
Just chill, okay?
This is how you know how far we are in the season, just based on how crooked they are, or how many things are on them.
Anyway, John, what's going on with you?
Well, my wife just had a baby, so I've been babying.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Is this your first?
Our first baby. Her name is Zira. So I named her after Dr. Zira from Planet of the Apes because I had to. And if I have a son, his name is definitely going to be Zayas.
Wow.
But yeah, it's been amazing, man. It's taken some time away from my art, but it's totally worth it, and it's giving me new ideas and freshen me up for some new stuff coming out soon.
Awesome.
It's kind of amazing how it does that, how like you're exhausted, but also there's just a fulfillment that
your brain works in a different way, right? And it has to like struggle to find some stuff in between the moments of zombiness.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. So you've made exclusives for us going way back, and then you made one recently, which I'll show here in a moment. And then people were like, John Black, like Barely Human, who's that? I've never heard of him. Like, where, and we're like, what planet have you been under? So I want to show you what I've been collecting that you've put out, and it's one of my favorite toy lines ever. And it's the Planetoid, what do you call them? Planetoid Combat Fighters. There you go. And they're unbelievable.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, that's Honda.
Oh, this was like the penis Vader head.
Yeah, no helmet barf. That's a classic.
No helmet barf.
No helmet barf. Right. Sorry.
Barf Bonnie, but no helmet. Yeah.
Here's Date Face.
Yeah. Date Face.
What I love about these, aside from the fact that the sculpts are great and the paint jobs are great and the card art is great, the names are fucking hilarious.
Thank you.
Like I call Greedo Frito-Lays now. Like,
yeah. Yeah, I mean, it comes natural, right? I mean, he comes off as Frito.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, I had fun. It was just fun naming them. I mean, it just kind of came natural by looking at them. They were so derpy. They had to have weird derpy names. So
I love it, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Oh, don't thank me yet. I'm gonna keep going all night.
We're gonna look at everyone you've got.
All right, so tell me about these. These are vinyl figures. So the stuff
Yeah.
you've made for us in the past have been resin, and it
Yep.
says on the back that they are made in Brazil. So tell us about that.
So yeah, so I kind of basically right when the pandemic started, I kind of got out of doing resin just because it was kind of making me sick, to be honest.
It's not good for you.
No, and I picked up a digital sculpting program on my iPad, and I just dedicated some hours to learning how to use it, and just started with these characters. Started with 4 that I did for a clutter show, and I think it was the first. I think you have those first 4, but I did them in resin. I printed them out on my printer. Oh, I also got a 3D printer, and that's what kind of took it to the next level too.
So what was it about this that you decided to shit can and go with the vinyl?
Well, I had a guy reach out to me from Brazil and ask me if I wanted to make these into vinyl, or make a vinyl toy, and I basically just said, yeah, my entire life I've been wanting to make a vinyl toy. So yeah, let's try it. And so I kind of just took the leap, trusted him with all of my money and my life savings, and sent him the first 4.
Nerve-wracking, right?
Yeah, it's scary.
Now,
so
what's
I
great
sent
is,
him
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Most of them have the same body.
Yeah, so there's 2 different bodies. There's a good guy body and a bad guy body.
Mhm.
And actually there's 3 different bodies, because no, now there's 4, sorry. Yeah, because the droid has his own body.
That's right. But what's funny is
the bad guy body has a sad face on the back of the backpack, and the good guy has a smiley face on the backpack. I don't know if anybody noticed that, but they do have that.
They all have a backpack. Let's see. So it has sad face.
So each one, you can tell which is the baddies by the sad face on the back.
I see. So Blue Snaggletooth is a good guy, but on the bottom is a bad guy. Got it.
Yes.
And what about Date Face? I can't see his back because he's got a cool little cape.
Yeah, you can't see his.
He's just scum and villainy. He
is. I think he's a bad guy. But also you can tell because the bad guys have more of an armor shoulder pads. They have like the rivets and a little different chest piece. And the good guys have kind of like it's supposed to be kind of like a furry kind of chest piece. It looks kind of like chest hair a little bit, but most of the good guys have that, because obviously the good guys have chest hair.
With the medallion in there too, right?
Of
like
course.
Got like the 70s, like
Yeah, so that's like the medallion is actually the part of the belt. So it has a little eyeball in it. I don't know if you can tell, it's got a little eye in it. There's some details in there that people don't really notice, I think, but
and so these are shipped to you in solid colors, and you do all the painting yourself?
Yeah. So I pick the colors of vinyl. I usually, choose like 3 or 4 different colors. They send me the blanks, and then I paint my horrible paint schemes on them.
There is nothing horrible about this paint scheme.
That's
nothing horrible about this paint scheme.
Big Chooch was an idea that I thought was pretty funny too. Made me laugh, so I thought I would. And obviously, I found my audience in you guys. So
I remember, like, this year was 2 years at DCon that this one came out, and I literally like got there, said hi to people, and ran to your booth because I wanted to make sure I got a big Chooch.
Yeah, I think I called you before the show and was like, "Can you save me?
One? Yeah,
I'll be at my booth going crazy."
Yes,
and look at this. Gotta have mad respect for the cojones on this person that like makes a Jar Jar.
Yeah, Jar Jar is like one of those characters that people hate on, but it's like he's got a cool look to him, and I thought I have to do a Jar Jar just because. I mean,
to be fair, this is hating on him.
I think I made him pretty cute. I think he looks pretty cute.
I think it's great.
I'm not. That was not a complaint in any way, shape, or form. Look at this guy.
Oh yeah, you got a scrounger with no cape. You need a cape for him. You got an early one.
I was robbed.
You got the early because you got an early set. You got it before I was doing the capes on. So I'll send you some capes for that guy and another. You probably need one for another couple like Frito and.
Oh no!
Because you have the early, you have the early paint drops.
And then you started doing other like paint colorways.
Well, that was the first one I released. I did it in kind of a kaiju style paint scheme, and then I was like, why aren't I just painting these like Star Wars guys? And it just hit me like, why don't I just paint them like the actual guys? I didn't know how they would look because of their bodies were different, but they ended up being perfect to me. I thought they represented it pretty well. So now nobody wants the kaiju and everybody wants the painted like the actual Star Wars figures. So
I had to stop buying the ones that were, had the exclusive, these guys because you just kept going. And then
I did some in Ultraman colors.
Yes,
I've tried everything. Honestly, I've tried it all. I think my favorite were the Ultraman ones, probably the stuff that I did. I probably will do those again someday.
But you did other themes too, other like paint themes.
Yeah, like just based off of old toys and stuff. Tried to kind of mimic because I love making packages. So it was more about what kind of package can I make and then match a paint to it.
Right.
So that's kind of what made me want to try different paint schemes.
That's sort of the approach I always take too, is like come up with the joke in the package first, and then
the
figure follows along with the packaging more than
it's fun.
Yeah,
that's like Charles Band, coming up with the movie poster before making the movie. It's like here's this guy in the wheelchair and he's thinking of this demon. It's like great idea. Go make that movie.
Go make
for
that
$1.
movie. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Like the budget for the poster was like more than the budget for the movie.
Right.
Yeah. He said that I think I heard that there was a fishbowl and people would drop in movie titles. Wow. And he would just pull them out and read them and be like, yeah, let's make a poster. Yeah, and it would be like title, and then go shoot the movie. Like it went in that sequence.
That's amazing.
Yep. That's how I make toys. That's the exact sequence, I think. Name.
And so then there's this baby right here, which is actually on the DKE Toys site right now for sale.
Yeah, go buy those, people.
It's an edition of 20, and you don't make too many carded figures for these because most of them are bag and hanger.
I just like the bags. I think my figures look good in the bags.
And then you put Velcro here.
Yeah.
And then look at that little guy.
I am genuinely shocked there's any of those left.
I know. They're unbelievable.
Yeah, people are weird.
I know.
Because I don't understand it sometimes.
I have failed to predict just about anything. Things that we sell out of and the things that we don't. I look at things and I'm like, yes, this is it. And then no dice, and then other things I'm like, what? That okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird.
Is what it is. But a lot of your early work started in Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, and I actually did a Planet of the Apes vinyl line as well that I haven't really released many of. That was the whole reason I did the Star Wars, to pay for the Planet of the Apes. But what I really didn't realize was how much people really don't even like Planet of the Apes except for me. So I have tons of these guys, which I keep wanting to release and paint, but I just run out of time. But I did the Planet of the Apes. I did 4 figures for that. Actually 5. One's a soldier that I used as actually the body is a double. I used it also because I did a Squid Games bootleg as well. But I sold probably like a handful of those. But the bodies mostly were used for my Planet of the Apes guys because it was kind of a soldier. He had like an AK-47 on his, like strapped on him. And I would just.
Will you make a Ricardo Montalban figure?
I would love to make a tattoo.
I remember.
No, I mean Ricardo Montalban from.
When he was in. Yeah, he was. He was the.
Use the vinyl with the chest hair.
Yep.
I
Just
should.
Ricardo Montalban.
I think that's a great idea.
Deep cut, man. Deep cut. I mean, the original Planet of the Apes films are really meaningful to me.
Me too, man.
They get progressively worse, but I can't watch. I have to watch them all. It's weird. Like I've watched
That's
1
fine.
and 2 and 3, and it's sort of slipping a little bit. And it's like, no, I got to push through until that final scene sort of like makes everything go in a circle. It's like, oh yes, and then I feel complete again.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, like, as these collections that we buy on the secondary market come in, and there's Planet of the Apes toys, like they are not worth anything. I remember talking to Brian Flynn when they put out their 3 3/4-inch Planet of the Apes run.
Yeah.
Like people are, I don't know, they're like those 60s and 70s. When did the first one come out? Was that
68?
68. So late 60s and 70s films, like they're not I mean, I definitely, when my kids are old enough, I want to, you know, as soon as they can, you know, handle like you know, bondage imagery, you know, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I will.
Well, it's funny.
I got a tip for you.
Yeah.
Don't show them the movie poster because there's a spoiler.
Yeah.
Sitting right there.
Well, it's funny because, you know, I named my child Zero, right? And so my mother-in-law was like, what's your deal with Planet of the Apes? And I'm like, you just have to watch it, you know, like it's very meaningful, it's deep, especially the first 3. And so I basically we watched all of them together with my wife and her, and then at the end, I mean, they were crying through most of them. They loved it.
Wow.
And so they like finally got it at the end. They were like, okay, I get why you're into this. I mean, I've been obsessed with it since a little kid, but there's just so much meaning in those movies, like you're saying. And it's like,
I mean, it had sort of like the Twilight Zone ending on the first one, but it,
yeah,
you know, as an allegory for like the world we still live in today, for racism and all that kind of stuff. Like, and then the X-Men movies like tried so hard to deal with that, you know, because that's the sort of the same theme of like mutants, and mutants are sort of, you know, they're oppressed. But those movies, they did not, like, you know, it's like this was just, the Vietnam War was going on at the same time. There's just so much like packed into those movies. And I just think they're fantastic. And if you haven't seen them, you should go watch them all.
But you know, it's not just that. You know, it's such a great movie, but also behind the scenes as well. Did you see the documentary on Planet of the Apes? It's
seen most,
you know,
of them.
all of these like makeup guys. It was the first like big like makeup movie. And these guys, they were like taking stuff to their home and baking it in their oven at home, you know, like these rubber things. And like they would stay up for days on end because they're like, we got to make like 400 monkey masks. You know,
the funny part,
and like, yeah, it was important in that way too, that it was a hard sci-fi. It was a massive project.
And Stuart Freeborn, who did a lot of the ape makeup, went on to do Chewbacca for Star Wars.
Oh, I'll be danged. That makes a lot of sense.
But also the interesting thing is that Planet of the Apes, as far as licensing went, was really one of the first movies, because it was so, there was so much licensing involved, and it was more than it had ever done before. Because if you think about it, there had been action figures for movies before, but the window is so small. Like there was no there's no, like, yes, you might see them on, you know, I watched Planet of the Apes on reruns, right? There was Planet of the Apes week because it was really worked out well because there were 5 movies, and then it was like Channel 13 is like Planet of the Apes week, and every night at like 8 o'clock they would show like a Apes film, or 7 o'clock. I don't know. Could I even stay up that late if they were on at 8? I don't know. Well, whatever. That's not the point. And so because it was always on, there were just tons of ape products and just coming out all the time. And then there was a TV series and a cartoon. But as they get to like the later movies, and there's actually product on the market, a lot of the actors are just wearing Don Post ape masks. Like it's getting like really, really bad. Like
Yeah. That's what I was going to say. The first row of them look amazing. And then as the rows go back, it's like you can actually see the guy's eyes like behind the mask. And there's a guy there. It looks like his face is kind of crinkled in a little bit. But that's what
the guy
I love
way in the
about
back
it,
is
too.
smoking a cigarette through his mask.
Yeah.
There's just so much, like Doug was saying, they made like a whistle and it's Planet of the Apes whistle, or
right.
a bar of soap, Planet of the Apes soap. I mean, it just, they did everything. So it's really hard to collect it all.
I don't have a lot of Planet of the Apes stuff, but the one piece that I do have came out, I know 15, 20 years ago, was from Sideshow, and it's a lawgiver statue. And it's like,
that's cool.
It's a beautiful replica, and it's like 1.5 feet tall, and it's,
yeah, that's awesome.
And then the actual props have come up for sale. I was at Heritage dropping some stuff off, I don't know, last year, and there was like a 10-foot tall lawgiver like sitting in the corner.
I've seen that.
Wow.
But the prices on all that stuff seem to have like come down. Like I remember,
yeah,
you know, in the 90s when a lot of those prop guys were finding like the tables and the chairs and all that kind of stuff, like from prop houses, and because that was the old trick. Like all the early prop collectors would go to the costume companies and they'd start looking through everything, and then they'd find Planet of the Apes costumes there, and then they would rent them and then say that they lost them, and they'd be like, okay, you know, oh, you lost it, okay, it's $200, and then they would just pay the $200. There's this one guy I knew, he was going through and he found James Arness's outfit from The Thing. And he just rented that, and I mean that thing's worth tens of thousands of dollars, and you know, for a couple $100, I lost it. Now they sort of got wise to that. And,
all right. Yeah, I'm always tempted to buy like a screen worn outfit, but I just never pull the trigger on it. It's just one of those things like, where am I going to put that? You know, because then I would want a full size like mannequin to wear it, and then my wife would just kick me out basically.
Right. And then what would your in-laws think?
Right. They already know. I mean, they've known me long enough now. I've been with my wife for 15 years. They know I'm weird, so they expect the craziness when they come over to my house.
I mean, they did sit down and watch 5 Planet of the Apes movies with you. I mean,
they did, and they respect it now, so it's kind of cool to have that respect.
That's impressive.
Yeah, it is. And we even watched the horrible one with what's his name, Marky Mark, just to see what it was like. And then we watched the new ones as well. And it's like, it was dedication.
Yeah. I like the new ones.
I like the new ones.
The new ones are
Marky
great.
The Marky Mark one, I was so pumped on
when it came out, right?
You were pumped, and then when you walked out, like it's one of the biggest like cinematic disappointments.
Major.
We had a Marky Mark toy from that movie, and he came with the sidearm, and he was mounted over the doorway with it pointed at his head.
Oh wow. Yeah, I'm trying to think of like, I think my biggest cinematic disappointment was obviously like episode 1.
Phantom Menace.
Right.
Yeah.
I think for most people like waiting for that, but I think that Planet of the Apes was top 10. There was another one that had come to mind recently.
The fourth Indiana Jones was a big one for me.
How about the Willy Wonka remake?
Oh, I pretend that doesn't.
I saw that one coming.
Come on, you really expected
I wanted to like it.
But you expected the 4th Indiana Jones movie to be good?
No, but I didn't expect it to literally make me cringe at the rest of the series. Like, I'm not saying I thought it was going to be good, but when I watch that movie and then I think back about the progression of everything, it makes the old movies suck. Like, I have to forget it's there because I don't know. There's not a lot, like the prequels, not good, but I can deal with them. And I did the same thing. Like, I waited in line. I watched it opening night. We all walked out of that theater silent, not happy with what we saw. But
you mean there wasn't one person in your group that like was saying like
that's pretty good?
That was good, right?
There may have been one. There may have been one guy.
It was me. I was that guy that I went back and I watched it 8 times in the theater, and
What?
like around the 5th time, I was like, because I was so jacked up on Star Wars. 5th time,
Oh,
there's a guy on
Scott.
People versus Star Wars that I was like, this guy articulated my experience. I was like, yeah, it's new Star Wars, and I was like high on it, but then I was like, man, I think maybe this is like ahead of its time, or there's something I don't understand about this. And
How old were you, Scott?
I was like 21.
Oh, okay. Well, you were just so excited for a new Star Wars. I mean, that's all it was, right?
Yeah. And
I mean, I'm such a jaded fuck right now that like I'm not jacked up for anything, right? I expect everything to be a letdown, and then right now anything that's a remake, I think it's going to be bad. And I can't think of very many remakes that have been, like I think the last one that I was mildly excited for was the Tron.
Right.
The second Tron.
But also kind of let down, right?
Yeah.
Of course, always let down.
Everything's let down.
That's a weird one. That there's a couple that, as I go back, I have more appreciation for, because I was so excited for the new Tron, and I went to see it, and I was like, "What is this pile of go knock on the sky there?" But
Daft Punk,
and then well, that's the thing is, so then I started listening to the soundtrack a lot. Yeah. And when I was writing my comic book years ago, like I listened to the soundtrack constantly. And then now when I go back and watch the movie, it's just like watching an 1.5 hour long music video to the soundtrack that I really love.
Right.
So I appreciate it differently, but it's not a good movie,
But I think that's what fooled you about episode 1, right? Is the John Williams score comes in.
Right.
And then you hear like the lightsabers and you hear the sound effects.
Yeah.
And then you see these like racist like aliens, doing their.
I did like that though. Yeah.
Of course you did.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, nothing says Star Wars like diplomatic negotiations. That's really.
Right.
I'll tell you another huge disappointment was Transformers. I was in the theater. I don't even remember what movie we went to go see, but
the Michael Bay one.
The trailers came up.
Mm-hmm.
Sound just went the transform sound, and then it just had a date, and every dude in the theater was like, "Whoa!" Like I couldn't even concentrate on the movie. I was like, I can't believe they're gonna make a fucking Transformers movie, dude.
Right, and then you found out it was Michael Bay, and then you were like,
piece of shit.
And the LaBeouf.
Yeah, that's the same reason. I was just talking to this with my wife about bands that were like in the 80s or 90s or whatever, and they're still touring like now. I feel the same way with that. I can't get into old bands like Duran Duran just played here or whatever. It's like I can't get into that. I can't get into them being like 100 years old and trying to play the music they were playing when they were in their 20s and trying to impress people. So it's kind of the same thing with the movies too. It's like when they try to remake a movie that I love, like Bad News Bears or something like that, I'm like, you shit on my life. Like I hate that. Like I don't love it. I think I'm just a grumpy old dude, but I'm like, I can't get into it. I just can't.
There's some like Netflix bought the Roald Dahl, speaking of Willy Wonka, they bought that collection. And the first one they put out was Matilda, which I like. Okay. I love the book. I like the original movie.
Me too. The original was great.
It was one of my favorite movies of last year.
Really?
It's a musical. I mean, it is a straight up musical.
Okay.
It's amazing. It's fantastic.
My daughter likes that.
So though then I read about the Willy Wonka, and it's like a prequel to Willy Wonka, which now makes me a little like.
Great.
But we'll see. I mean, I don't know, that Matilda movie is so good that it gave me a little glimmer of hope that maybe.
You think with the technology they could make a movie remake and make it kind of new, but also give it kind of an old feel?
I don't think it's the technology that's a problem. I think it's the studio heads who are too afraid to do anything.
Yeah,
they can change it too much, or it's going to be too smart. We got to dumb it down.
They want to use a tagline that was in another movie. They got to use that to make sure everybody knows what it's from. And Yeah.
I mean, that's like the Transformers. I feel like they just can't let it die because they've invested so much in it. They're like, all right, well, what do kids like? Well, they like the Beastmaster series, right? Was that popular? Okay, let's do that now. Like,
yeah, that's the new one.
I mean, it's no Fast and Furious, right? Am I right?
what is?
Wow.
We went, we actually went this week because my daughter just got done with school this week. So we went to see the Little Mermaid live action remake.
How was it?
I liked it.
The soundtrack's supposed to be good.
I thought the performances were good. Now, I will say I am not nostalgic for the Little Mermaid at all. I mean, it was not my bag, but everything they did it like.
How can you be nostalgic for a fish? I mean,
what exactly? But my wife is, so I don't know.
Yeah, see, that would be my wife too.
Yeah, and my wife was like, I couldn't get past the voices being different because she is so nostalgic for that. But they rounded out characters in ways that I thought were really interesting. They made Ariel more proactive, so she's actually taking action instead of just waiting for princes. And the race swap that everyone's, not everyone, but all the red hats are bitching about makes perfect sense, because all of King Triton's daughters are each of the 7 seas, and it takes place in the Caribbean, so she's the Caribbean Sea. So it makes total sense that she would, she would be of color.
Because the color of the skin of a fish, is important.
It's very important. I don't know. I was shockingly, I really enjoyed it. I was not excited going in, and I left, and I think I liked it more than the other two did, than my wife and daughter did. But
I do have a good bad news bear story.
What's that?
All right, so my son Samuel's like into baseball, and maybe at age 6 he's watching, I don't know, like The Rookie or The Sandlot, and I'm watching this, and I'm like, I'm gonna show you a real baseball movie. Right, it's stupid me. And then I put it, first scene, Walter Matthau, he has opens his beer, he dumps half of it out, he puts his vodka in there. And I'm like, okay, what's going on here? And I was like, did I watch this like all the time as a kid? Okay, we'll keep going. And then they're in the parking lot, and this one kid, like, he says like the N-word and this and that. And then I'm like, I have the
take notes, Samuel. Take notes.
Okay, Daddy made a mistake. We're not watching this. And I'm thinking to myself, I watched this shit all the time as a kid. Like, did they bleep all that, or did they just say the N-word on network TV like all the time?
All the time. It's crazy. That's one that it trips me out. And then I used to love this movie Meatballs. Remember that movie?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's the same thing. I'm like, I watch them now and I'm like, oh, this is wrong. I won't be able to watch it with my daughter. I won't.
No.
There's just too many things that are, I mean, I'm not like a stiff or anything, but like that, she doesn't need to be hearing any of that stuff. There's a lot of that stuff.
I don't remember any racist stuff from Meatballs.
It's not even racist stuff. He's kind of a perv. Like he grabs women and stuff, and it's like almost just a little uncomfortable. He almost like date rapes.
Yeah, try watching like early Bond films. I mean, those are I did not watch Bond as a kid, and I got the box set 4 or 5 years ago because I really liked it. Talk about a reboot that I like, the Daniel Craig films I really enjoy.
Yeah.
And so I just started at the beginning and I watched them all. And dude, those early films are really rapey, man. Like, like there are women who are clearly just saying like no, and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna fuck you anyway. And it's like, I can't show that shit to my kids. Like that is wow. Like,
and then when you get into the 90s stuff, there's just this underlying homophobia and everything. Like Bill and Ted's are some of my favorite movies, and I watch them and I'm like, oh man, I get uncomfortable now in some of these. And Friends was the same
Police Academy series. I don't know if you ever liked the Police Academy series.
I know.
I loved them, but they're so wrong.
Yeah.
There's racism, homophobia,
everything.
All you can eat.
And so I have to think in some way, like, we turned out okay and can recognize this stuff and like, have conscious thought about it, that maybe it's not as influential. I don't know. It's like, it's like Dave Chappelle when he stopped doing his show. He stopped doing the show because a crew member like laughed at the wrong part of the joke.
I didn't know that.
It's like,
I heard that. Yeah.
And then he was like, what am I doing? Like, obviously it's supposed to be funny, but the guy laughed in the wrong place, and it was like, oh, this is not what I intended to do. And then, you know, he's like, I'm going to take a break from this.
But what Dave Chappelle didn't see is the guy was reading like a Marmaduke cartoon. Yeah.
Family Circus.
That damn dog.
Oh, the Ziggy's so good.
All right. So
That
speaking
Ziggy gets
of
me every time.
of bootlegs here, I'm going to show a couple other bootlegs that we have on the site right now.
On sale now.
We have these guys, Galaxy Commanders.
Super cool.
I think they're about $70 each. They're vinyl figures from.
Yeah, I want to do Planetoids that big.
Yeah,
oh, that would be awesome.
fun.
Cool.
And this is the Darth Vader S.
I love that one.
Yeah.
That one's cool.
And so what's interesting is Galaxy Commanders was a 3 3/4 inch line in the late 70s, 80s that was meant to, you know, rip off Star Wars. And then Skullmark went and made you know, vinyl figures basically ripping off the ripoff. This is just some really
Yeah,
crazy.
they've done a couple different series of knockoffs.
And, you know, there's clearly like I mean, this Chewbacca one is, you know, my favorite, of course. Like, look at
Yeah, that one's great. That head on that is.
You know, and same sort of theme here, recycling the body.
You know, it's funny. Do you guys know who Lemaitre is? You remember Lemaitre?
Sure.
He did some toys. You know, some of his early toys were based off of those before anybody. He had like that one space guy you showed. He has a toy that has that head on it, basically. And I don't think it didn't, you know, it's not as well known, I don't think, but at the time when he was doing it.
Right. He probably bootlegged it from the 3 3/4 inch, right?
Yeah, that's what he did. He was very into those.
Yeah.
He's the first person I heard. He's the one that showed me those when he was into them back in the day. But yeah.
But he did his own line of vinyl.
Yeah.
Right? Didn't he do? He did that series with the Macquarie Chewbacca concept.
Yep.
Oh,
that was part of them. Yeah.
Those were amazing.
Yeah. He's coming to visit me this weekend. I'm trying to get him back into making toys.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
What's he been doing?
He's been raising 2 kids.
That'll do it. That'll knock you out of toys.
That'll do it.
Now it's time for What Did Dove Buy? Hey dude, what'd you get?
All right, there's a couple of the things that came in the mail here. This was a set of it's for a medication called Suprax.
That looks rad.
And there's 4 of them, and I can't say I looked it up. It's an antibiotic. And
the first one, is he going to a ska show?
Yeah, right.
I mean, like, or he's going golfing or something.
Yeah.
I love that.
Suprax.
He needs some roller skates.
But this one, he's like, I don't know. He's like frozen. You see, like the ice on the side of his head.
Yeah.
Wow. I don't know if that
kind of a
means
Frankenstein-y kind of hair.
I don't know if that means like you can freeze like your Suprax and then maybe it's like
what is Suprax though?
It's a liquid. It says oral suspension, so it's a liquid antibiotic. So my guess is it comes in strawberry flavor for the kids, right? Because who needs a liquid antibiotic? Like that would be for kids who can't swallow pills, right?
Yeah, right.
And then there's this one with like the clock around his.
The Flavor Flav.
It's amazing these medicine companies do these cool toy projects. I remember when Ron Reggie did with Tylenol, he had the 2 figures. You guys remember those?
Oh yes, I have those.
Yeah, like that was like a weird project that was.
What were they called again?
I can't remember the name of them, but there was 2. It was like a boy and a girl or something.
And then there was a ghost.
Yep. And it was for Tylenol.
We need to do a whole episode about your medical toy collection, Dove.
Yeah.
Shit's weird.
It's bananas.
Yeah.
I have like Ritalin Man and like all this crazy.
They're great. They're really nuts. You can come back for that one, John.
Yeah, right. And, I mean, Japan, they have like everything has a mascot, so it's like I'm sure you have a lot of those, Dove.
I have we'll do that on the show. I have a few. I wish I had more, but. So what's next for for John Black? What else is going on?
Well, I've been sculpting quite a bit, so I'm hoping to get a toy made here in the States with a guy in the next 6 months, something new, something bigger. But for now, I'm just like thinking of different ways to customize my toys. I still have a pretty good stock. I have my peanut guy here that's pretty popular. And then I also have little Chooch.
Little Chooch.
Oh, look at that.
But I really want to make a big size Chooch. So that's kind of probably the next thing on the list. But
big little Chooch.
Yeah. Just I'm just working on creating new stuff and on my own and just keeping to myself. And I've been painting other people's toys, having a fun time with that. So doing that. Not doing decon this year, staying away from decon this year.
Oh yeah? Really? Why?
Well, it's just too expensive and it doesn't really, the booth costs and everything else and the hotel and this and that, it kind of makes it not as fun, like.
Sure.
And if I don't have anything new really to me, I mean, I may try to come and maybe just scooch into someone's booth for a day or something and maybe do a little exclusive or something, but I just can't see doing my own booth this year. As much as I FOMO the hell out of that because I want to be there. I want to see everybody.
It's really my favorite show of the year to attend.
Yeah.
And I go to lots of shows and I walk around like looking for the one magic thing and and it's just it's really the show where I have the most fun attending because San Diego I've aged out of with the exception of Monsterpalooza here that's coming up in Pasadena.
That show looks really fun.
It's a really fun show.
I mean, it is fantastic. And the thing that I guess I hate about other shows, right, is when people are walking around in costumes. I'm like, oh God, look at those people! Like, they're in the furry suit. I'm just like, oh, this person must have like real sweaty balls. Like, it's just really gross.
They do.
But Monsterpalooza, they're specifically like to see the costumes that people are dressed up in. People come in there in 10-foot tall costumes with wings that open up and just you're like, what? Like they must have spent the last 10, 15, 20 hours sitting in a chair just to prep themselves just so they could walk around this show, and it's unbelievable.
Well, and every other row has like makeup artists doing actual makeup on people, so you're watching the costumes come together in front of you, and it's a great show.
I'm blown away by the cosplay that people do with all these mechs and stuff. They're like 10-foot mechs and stuff. It kind of blows me away. I think it's cool. I think there's a place for it, but yeah, it's kind of annoying when you get bumped into when you're trying to walk through a row and you're like you're looking up at this towering person. And you're like
the guy in the 8-foot Buzz Lightyear costume.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Put the wings down.
Yeah,
I wish I had a photo. Janky, I'll send you this photo of this guy in the most like realistic Donald Trump mask, and I forgot what he was wearing. Was he in a diaper? I forget. Whatever. You're going to be seeing it right now. I don't go up to anyone and ever want a photo with anybody ever, but like at that show every once in a while I see something that is just so beyond fucked up, and it's like, okay, can I get a photo, please? Like, so there you go.
There you go.
Ian's been really quiet. I'd have to say hello to Ian.
What's up, dude?
Good to hear you.
You too, man. I hopped in late and I didn't want to just start blabbing, so I just been lurking, listening to you guys talk about Planet of the Apes.
Until you started blabbing.
Yeah. Well, you told me I should, so.
It's not an episode if we don't have the beard up at some point.
I was going to say one thing.
No.
Here we go.
Well, I wanted to say a couple of years ago, I got this Barfani from John, and I did this paint job,
which is amazing.
And thank you. But I wanted to say, I don't know. You said something like really can't wait to see what you do with that, Scott. And there was like a charge in that. It was almost like a gauntlet had been thrown. Like
it was a challenge.
Yeah,
this has got to be like the coolest thing that you've ever done. And what, man, I did this, and I remember I was feeling really down and really bad, and this like sort of reignited a spark that I had for the toys, and it's changed. You have unknowing and unwittingly changed the trajectory of all of my artwork in the last few years.
Wow.
Because of this. So I wanted to say thank you.
I'm already crying.
That's amazing, dude. That makes me.
Thank you for the inspiration.
Right there, it's amazing, man. That makes me feel so good. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
I mean, you're an incredible artist. So just hearing you say that is like, that charges me up. So great. Now I got to get to work.
Yeah. The gauntlet has been thrown.
The rest of us need at that moment. Yeah.
Janky, you should cut in the shot of Donald Trump dancing, like doing the double jack off. Right here.
It's actually inspired me so much to I have my own vinyl toy being made right
now. Sick.
Yes.
Boom.
Yes.
I can't wait to see that.
Janky just edited in
an explosion. Now you're on the hook to paint one. Yeah.
Oh, I would definitely love to. I mean, that would be an honor, to be honest. I would love that. I'm stoked for you, dude.
I'm glad. I didn't know that you'd sent it already, which is great because I know you were in sculpting and then resculpting and then resculpting and then resculpting mode. So I'm glad you finally went to bed and sent it out.
And then resculpting.
Yes. All right, that's enough out of you guys.
All right. Well, we get like there's this head, and I'm like, it's so great, and then Scott's like, this head's garbage. I'm doing it again. Like I'm like, no, it's great. I mean, do it again if you really don't like it. But and then he comes up with this other head that is also amazing. So, I mean,
that's the process.
Yeah,
especially when you're sending something off and spending that much money on molds.
Spending so much, yeah.
You want it to be exactly what you want.
Because then when I did that second head, I was like, this one's garbage too. I'm like, I'm like, just get it out of here. I just got to do it. Just pull the trigger. You're never going to be happy. You're just a piece of shit.
And then you think of all the projects that you never get to see because like they were brilliant, and then he just like shit canned them before. He's like, this is terrible.
Yeah,
fuck
so
this.
Stuff. DOA. Dead on Arrival, stillborn projects, toys.
We have a lot of therapy sessions together, him and I, about that. Imagine we're gonna drive down tomorrow to see the Robert Burton show, and I imagine that'll probably be for one or both of us will be a therapy session.
Wow. All right, John, tell people where they can find you online.
Well, you can go to barelyhumanart.com. That's where I have all my junk for sale. But you can also find me on Instagram. Give me a follow. Barely Human Art or Barely Human Toys. I have two, but I'm around somewhere always. If you need any sculpting, hit me up. I'm doing a lot of sculpting for other people. I did a toy line for Chris Pacone.
Savage Conquest. Yeah.
Turned out really cool. Awesome, I just did 4 more heads for him.
The ETC pieces you did too were amazing.
Yeah, I did stuff for Tim. I just did that space squatch. I did a thing for the guy goes by Swarm Cod and his name, he did like it's like a mech creature kind of.
Yeah.
I did his little Madball style figure for him.
Oh, you did that? I saw that. Yeah. That's cool, man.
Yeah, and then I'm working on some other stuff with some other people that I haven't shown yet, but I'm always available if people want to hit me up. I'm fairly affordable and I work pretty quick sometimes, so.
Awesome.
Comments and questions.
All right, Janky, what kind of comments do we have?
Well, we've had quite a few comments coming in lately. 6mm Phil hopped onto the Sucklord episode and said best episode yet. It was a pretty damn great episode. Akashic Records, our friend Dave. said that all toy makers will end up with an OnlyFans. So I'm not sure if that's true, but according to Sucklord,
there are a few. There are a few.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Dave.
Yeah, just waiting for Ian's.
Wow.
Oh no.
Well, we did discuss putting his name in the credits and writing beard.
Yep.
And then I had to explain to him what a beard was. And then I think he had some second thoughts about
He
that.
signed off on it anyway.
Yeah, that got pulled after that, weirdly. And then Ross Blair had 2 questions for you, Dove.
Sure.
He wants to know, number 1, what is the status of the Star Wars book? He says he would be first in line for that. And then he wants to know which of the Cantina aliens is your favorite and why. This is like
Where's
asking
the
you
book,
to choose your favorite child.
Where's the book?
I mean, the book
Which
is
question
something...
is easier?
Yeah. I don't have a favorite Cantina alien. I like them all, and it changes from time to time. I can't tell you why. The thing is, I'm nostalgic for them aesthetically as Kenner figures, right? It's not their appearance in Star Wars, although Greedo's the only one that speaks, and that is a great scene. That's, Greedo to me was this guy in this complete green suit, not with the orange and the you know what I'm saying? So it's really, and what's probably going to occupy most of this case right here is going to be the Cantina Aliens collection, including these guys here.
The Lays!
Cool. That'd be a cool collection.
Did you do a Hammerhead yet?
No, but it might be coming. You also need a vest for Frito, it looks like. You got one of the original Fritos with no vest.
You're letting me down, man.
Well, you bought them before I had come up with the vest idea. So.
Is he letting you down, or are those going to be super valuable at some point because they don't?
It's true, because there wasn't many made that didn't have the vests.
Yeah.
So it sounds like he's blaming the customer, man.
And what I think he's doing is saying you just need to buy another round of figures with the vest.
I think
they are on my website, barelyhumanart.com.
Go buy.
You mentioned DKE Toys TV.
Yes. Actually, I was going to do like a giveaway on here, but I didn't know how it worked. So I thought if there were people that hit me up, I would give away a toy or two, just to, if someone was to hit me up and mention they saw the show, maybe I have a free toy for you.
Wow.
So there you go.
Famous
or at least the free vest.
Free vest, yes.
What's that?
As far as the book is concerned, every time we have some downtime, Ian is still cataloging, and then we have to start photographing, and then we need to get permissions from everybody.
Did you just shrug the blame off on the
No, I didn't. It's actually,
I'm trying.
That's so shameful. That is so shameful.
It's
Sorry, Ian.
Quite often we have artists on the show. We talk about they have something that they're doing, that they're working on, that's actually like making money today versus something that you work towards that is, let's say talking to the Sucklord in the last episode about him making Toy Lords of Chinatown and why it takes so long to get that kind of stuff done. It's because what's going to happen is we'll probably do a Kickstarter for it, but we can't ask for the amount of money that we need to make it happen because it's too much, and it's just it's going to cost too much to make. It probably will never recoup, even though we love this comment about that you want to be the first one in line to buy one. I appreciate that. It's going to happen. It needs to happen. I think the world needs it. I will be able to sleep at night once it's done, but I don't know. We keep saying, well, next year, it would be nice if we could get photography done by the end of this year. Like if that happened, that would be great. I don't know how much time after that it will take to do it, another year or two. It's kind of one of those things. It's like when a filmmaker makes a film and on their first film, they just try to throw everything in it because they're afraid they'll never make another movie again. So this is going to be just put everything in there because, it just might never happen again. So
at some point, you're going to have to retitle this book Chinese Democracy because it is going to...
It's gonna hurt.
Oh, man.
wow.
Not cool. Not
Dude,
cool.
I think I'm just gonna retire right now.
Well, folks, it's been a fun run. We appreciate you watching DKE Toys TV.
Of course, I blow out the last show.
Cut to animation of Dove's head.
Yeah.
Right. So we'll see. Thanks for the pressure.
Yeah.
Soon.
Don't ever ask about the book ever again. The
Yeah.
book is never to be mentioned ever again. Thank you.
If you aren't the first person in line, you're dead.
Deleting your comments, Ross Blair.
You know how many people have said that to me? Oh, bro, you make that, I'm going to be the first person to buy it. And it's like crickets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where'd that
Hey,
person
hey,
go?
Yeah, there's this one. Shut up and take my money. I go,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
Where is it? Yeah.
Give it
No,
to
but
me.
we do appreciate the support. It will happen in my lifetime. How's that?
Perfect.
And then once like they land and we ship them, and then I die.
Maybe we don't need it to happen then. That's...
Yeah.
Each book will come with a small vial of Dove.
Just a little bit of Dove dust.
Wow.
We'll mix it in with our resin and then cast Dove figures.
Probably my blood, but okay.
This is getting weird.
No, this has been so fun. You guys
This
have
was
made me
awesome, man.
laugh.
I'm so glad you were here with us. This was super fun.
Yeah. Thanks for the invite.
Thank you guys. So everyone make sure to check us out on Tuesdays. The last interview posted is Acquired Taste, which is a fantastic interview.
Mhm.
I love that guy.
We have a contest right now. Trying to get some followers here on the YouTubes. So make sure to subscribe. And at some point here, we are going to choose one of the subscribers and give them a $500 set
Wow.
of gold, matching numbered gold Ron English figures, numbered out of 20. And you get all 5.
That guy's going to be huge someday.
Yeah, he's really up
Ron
and coming.
English.
Yeah, really. We're not saying exactly when the drawing is because we want people to keep subscribing, and we don't want people obviously to like subscribe and then like unsubscribe when the contest is over. So anyway, go subscribe.
That's exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah.
God.
Bastards.
If you mention DKE Toys TV in the notes section when you make a purchase on the site, we will give you a free invisible Sucklord figure, which everybody needs. Make sure to follow us on IG at DKE Toys. If you have something fun you need to talk about, something you love, you hate, you want to abuse us or say nice things, you can email Janky at dketoystv@gmail.com. And next week we should have another show with Jack from Vinyl Pulse. So
Sweet.
Oh, that's fun.
That'll be fun.
should be fun.
Yeah. This
All
is
right, well,
awesome,
thank
dude.
you guys.
Thanks for doing this.
Really pumped. It's
Thank
great.
you.
Really appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah. Talk to you guys soon.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
See you next week.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bunny.